Welcome everybody to Soul Purpose Healing. I am so grateful for this day. For one thing, I have recovered from a 2-hour bike ride with my grandchildren and my son, and my legs were hurting so bad, but they're recovered. They're recovered. And I have Chief Amun back with me tonight because we have a very special announcement to make, and we want you all to be a part of it. But first, this is Viyahta's Tiny House Village. And my YouTube channel is active. My Facebook Live is active, and soon we're going to have Chief Amun's Facebook and YouTube. We're just going all out. But let's welcome my Tiny House Village community. Yes. I'm a minimalist, and I have had a journey, amazing journey in a tiny house on wheels, 8x20 for 5 years. And so I promote that for everyone to, if you're stressed and struggling and don't know what to do about your McMansion that's falling apart, this is the place to learn more about the joys of living tiny. Now, before we bring in the chief, as always, I want to do some drumming because we want to bring our ancestors in always to help us. These are some chaotic times, especially in the Estados Unidos, American. And so if you have your drum, just join in. We're going to do a few minutes of drumming with Becca Shea. She's one of my favorite artists because she brings in the Native American energy. So get your drums out and drum with us for a minute to bring unity. This song is about heartbeat, the heartbeat of our creator. And that's what we're going to talk about today is the truth about our creator and the heartbeat that we bring in unity to all generations. So get your drums out and let's do some drumming.
And highest blood has run some people for God. From every tribe and language, people, every nation. Where warriors are falling, there's a resurrection coming. It's your time to rise and shine. Wake up, you sleeping giant. Those of injustice are being healed by the peace. Oh yeah, it's bringing us power through unity. Where warriors are falling, there's a resurrection coming. Tribals come alive. Yeah, wake up, you sleeping giant. Your heartbeat, I feel it. Yeah, I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. Yeah, I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel your heartbeat. I feel it. I feel it. Yeah, I feel it. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. Together we cry. Yes, you are. Bring us together. Bring us together. We cry. Out, your heartbeat, oh, your heartbeat. This is the hour to know whose side to stand.
So we're asking tonight, whose side are you standing by on? Are you going to be on the side of unity, truth, and more truth and peace? Or are you going to be on the side of division and chaos and hate? So with gratitude and love and much appreciation, I welcome back my brother and teacher, Chief Amun. How are you this evening?
I'm so good this evening. I feel good.
Yay, good. I feel good too. After a 2-hour bike ride, you have to come home and take a nap. But then all my muscles are like feeling stronger. And so I encourage people to get out there and ride your bike. In fact, my grandchildren this morning, I was asking them, would you rather be in church today or on the bike trail? And my granddaughter said, well, I don't know. Can we do a little bit of both? My grandson, I'd rather be on the bike trail. So we had a great time. Anyway, I'm so grateful to be able to join with you, Chief Amun,
Likewise.
to come together. And I realized that you're the same age as my son. So I have been putting out the intention to bring in a younger generation to soul purpose healing. But it's not easy to find your age group who have the same mind that I do and the same wisdom. So I wanted to just tell everybody this man, Chief Amun, has wisdom beyond his years. And that's why he and I are coming together once a week. We're going to tell you about, we're going to do a regular show every week to demonstrate to the world that when you have like-mindedness, when you have a spirit that wants to bring truth and love and more wisdom, then that's when you need to come together and teach and show everyone. So thank you so much for being here and joining me. And I'd like to start out tonight talking about yoga and meditation. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a very heated discussion with someone who's really very sick and very religious, and their position on yoga is like you're going to invite evil spirits if you're practicing any type of yoga. And I'm like, what? So I've been so used to being a yogi by now that this type of conversation to me is like, I go, what? You still believe in that? So tonight I want to ask you to start off with the African perspective on yoga and meditation, because I have a book I've read called Creative. I read this book about 20 years ago, Creative Work, Karma Yoga. And it just so opened my eyes and brought me out of the Christian perspective, because to me, the Christian perspective is this is demonic, this is evil. And what this book, just one sentence in this book, I went, whoa. It said the true meaning of yoga, the establishment of union with all the forces of the outer cosmos and all the forces of the inner cosmos. Plain and simple. And I'm like, where did Christianity get this idea that somehow evil forces and meditation is going to bring in unknown spirits and all that? So I want you, because of your knowledge and wisdom about ancient Africa and even current, tell us the perspective you have about yoga and meditation, both maybe historical and today.
Well, the reason yoga was very important because we knew the importance of keeping our bodies and healthy. The body and the mind has to be synced as one, just like regular exercise. You know, in today's modern society, they talk about exercise, the importance of exercise, and the fact that we have to get blood flow to continuously to clean the body out, clean the blood out. Is also good for the brain. We just got done talking about this. Actually, it's good for the brain. It actually makes it hard for a person to get dementia as well as Alzheimer's disease when they're doing a lot of exercise. Yoga is the superior form of perfection when it comes to exercise, because the movements is mathematically designed to keep the smaller energy centers in the body, in the joints and the wrists and the hands, as well as even in the face and just different parts of the body. Not speaking about the 12 chakra system, some people say 7, but it keeps these energy gates open inside of the body where energy can constantly flow through the body and into the bones and the muscle tissue and the different plexuses, as well as the organs in the body. And it keeps keeps the body healthy, not just physically, but physically, emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. So it's whereas when you just going to do, let's say, work out in the gym, you don't really get all that adequately. But with yoga, you do get that. And it also is superior to weightlifting, because the body is designed, the muscles in the body is designed to lift its own weight. We shouldn't be lifting things more weight than we should. because it wears out the joints, the tendons, and so forth and so on, which is why a lot of bodybuilders have a lot of issues. But if you're doing a lot of kinesthetics, like which is best, or you turn your living room into your workout place, that's a lot better, But exercise is everything. Exercise is just as important as dieting, which is just as important as positive thinking. Meditation controls the brain. It keeps the brain and the mind centered. It keeps both of those aspects balanced, and that is very important. There's no such thing as a disease or any kind of ailments that you may go through, physically, that didn't first start on the mental level and went through the soul aspect or the character part of the person, which manifested in the physical aspect. So that's extremely important as well. Meditation keeps the person centered in spirit, and it helps to keep that channel open as well, so that energy can flow into to the mental, the spiritual, and emotional, and the physical. People that don't exercise, well, let me just say this: people that do exercise, it's a high percentage of people that do a lot of exercise and never have to worry about depression, doubt, and worry and fear. Practicing yoga, it helps to eliminate that, and it helps the person to have a thicker buffer for stress. In the midst of stress, a person is still able to think through things and still be calm and still be at peace. So your thought processing is a lot better. You see, so I can go on and on and on about the advantages of yoga. I think people are looking at who's doing it. They're looking at, let's say, oh, the East Indians are doing it, and they worship these gods like Shiva and Vishnu and Krishna and Brahma and all this different stuff like that. We're not talking about that aspect. Yoga is a universal thing, no matter what religion that you're in, whether it's Christian, Islamic, Jews, Buddhists, whatever it may be. Anybody can benefit. It's a universal exercise. You see, so it's not connected to any particular religion.
Where do you think Christianity picked up the idea that this is evil or bad when this has been thousands of years practiced in the East? I'm almost thinking it was intentional that modern Christianity, decided to demonize this practice. And is there anything in Africa that specifically states that this type of union with the body and mind is what we should be doing?
Yeah, amongst the high tribes, they do have yogic poses and stretches and things that they do. It was always known in different schools of thought. Let's say the educational system in Egypt for thousands of years, they practiced this, and that's really the origin of it. These ancient schools of thought, they taught this, and Christianity, which is a belief institution, the people that like politicians and I think the Sephardim and the higher echelons and the people that's running politics and things like that of different countries that incorporated these religious beliefs to their people, they use things like that to control the minds of the people so that they can stay on top and the people can stay on bottom. And that's always been the case, and it's still the case today, you see. So but now we're shifting into a new paradigm where more and more people are going into the know. They're not going to be able to lie to the people anymore. Everything's coming up front. I mean, the truth about things, what's true will be revealed just like it is. And even on the news, that's going to be changing for the future.
Yeah, I believe that.
Go ahead. You was asking.
Yeah, I believe that, most of my generation, baby boomers, grew up in Christianity, Sunday school, Jesus loved me, this I know. And now, as they're getting older, many people are having a hard time leaving the teachings of that religion. And many of us who suffered or just went through major challenges, we were easy to go to the next level with you, and then your generation is coming has rejected Christianity for a large number. Even my son, even though he grew up in a so-called Christian home, he doesn't go to church or read the Bible at all. And he took his kids to church a couple of times. They're like, man, we don't need this. So what I'm saying is, 3 generations later, my grandchildren are proving to me that this consciousness is risen in even in them at their age. And so what are you seeing in your generation and your community, that people are waking up, or signs that they have left that behind, or did they struggle with it, or was it easy? What's been your experience with this spirituality versus religious battle with your own generation?
Oh wow, that's somewhat loaded. Coming up,
I know,
let's see. When I was
it's
very
been
young,
bothering me so much that I have to put it on you now.
well, it's when I was younger. My generation, some of them would say they believe in God, but they really didn't. They just laughed at whoever was in opposition of what their parents were saying. Then they would just, but they truly didn't, wasn't about, let's say, the practice of Christianity. And my generation, everybody now is just like they searching for truth. They know that is, Christianity is not the way to go. They looking for truth and looking around, especially in the city area. Oh, it's a lot of people that never really accepted that Christianity. But it's a lot of the truth first land in the main cities, and then it spreads out into the country areas. Like in the country area in Alabama, my family in that area, we was the ones that were the custodians of truth, whether it was talking about the Nation of Islam, talking about the YPN Nation, talking about the 5%ers, whatever it may be, we had the information on it. But everybody, they was still kind of stuck in that Bible Belt type mentality. But if I were to travel to Atlanta, people that would be my age, it was like, wow, they were hip to everything. I guess the teachings of the Nation of Islam was spreading then. People were standing out on street corners and things. And I guess then it was equivalent to the internet. So later on, around when we started hitting the like late 90s, 2000s, that's when you had members of the Nation of Islam in Alabama, even in the country areas, that was spreading the teachings and things like that. And that helped to really lighten up that thick belief system and crack it up and break it up. And now it's like everybody's just open. But I will say this, when you take something out of your life negative, you have to replace that something with something positive. You can't leave a hole there. And that is the biggest thing that happened inside of the amongst the, if you want to call it the conscious community. A lot of people threw Christianity out, they stumped Christianity to the ground. But if you look at, there are some kernels of some good morals in Christianity. There's some good morals that you can read about in the Quran, and they threw all that stuff out too. So now you have a person that's living like a wild caveman through life and saying, I'm God, and they got a hamburger in his hand and a Coca-Cola in his hand and a blunt or something in the other hand. And you have to have structure. If you move religion out of your life, you have to have some structure to keep your growth going, because that you don't have a blueprint in life at that point. So now you're a savage, you see.
Yeah,
And yeah.
Yeah, I have this favorite scripture. I still read the Psalms and Proverbs, and because so much wisdom, like you said, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and there's a lot of baby in the Psalms and Proverbs. Proverbs 23. Most of us know Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, all that. But Proverbs 23 says, if you are a man given to your appetite, put a knife to your throat, because that food is deceptive. And I shared this with my friend who's really suffering and in pain. And And I said, you're married to your appetite. Because even though you're showing signs of inflammation and swelling and pain, you're still eating peach cobbler and sugary and cookies. You can't. And I tell you why. Not to be judgmental on him, because he grew up with such an abusive childhood, and the only love that was shown to him was the food. A lot of kids grow up and the only love they get from their abusive parents, alcoholic parents, whatever, is food. The ones who didn't start or who didn't struggle with food in the house and they weren't poor, my grandma was, or no, mama or whoever was taking care of them was cooking up some good food. And so then I realized later on, that's the comfort people have later on when they're suffering and in pain. Oh, that apple pie it feels good. Not only tastes good, but feels good. So that's why you're right. We don't have to give up all the things that we learned in Christianity, but some things, yeah, we got to be discerning. I think discernment. Let's talk about discernment, Chief. Is as we move into a cooperation together to help people grow in wisdom. What's the difference for you as far as discernment and knowing what's good for you at this point in your journey?
Well, that's a very good question. And that too is loaded. And that's another issue. Uh, you know, to move off intellect alone without intuition, which is the voice of your higher self and your inner being, you're still moving along the way with a blindfold on. And that's why I tell people like that I know some people who are, I've met people who were Christians or religious, and their discernment was even deeper than a person who was supposed to be in the conscious community, because it has nothing to do with your title that you wear or whatever. It has everything to do with your attunement with your inner divinity, you see? And that has to do with your lifestyle, what kind of lifestyle you have, the food that you eat, whether you're doing spiritual practice or not, um, uh, whether you're thinking negative or not, what you're involved in, the people that you hang with. I mean, it goes, I mean, I can go on and on and on. So discernment is very important. And what increases that is your alignment with your inner spirit. How do you do that? Everybody always say, see, intellect, the people that deal with just intellectual stuff, they always say, well, it's you have to be aligned with your inner spirit. Everybody go, yeah, yeah, yeah. But they never say how you do it. See, I'm the type of person, well, I need to know how you do that then. And they don't ask the person, how do you do that? Well, you have to do step this, step that, step this. Meditation, fasting, concentration. You see, you're already there. The light is already within you. You just got to clean the window so it can shine through. You see?
Oh, that's a good
And
one.
that's what we call purifying yourself. Purification.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if a light bulb, if I spray paint a light bulb, black paint, screw it in, cut it on, you wouldn't even know that any energy was there. But if I start cleaning that light off, they see bleak a light shoot, light beams come out. You see, and that's the same thing with the human. So that increases as that light comes. It increases, and someone's discernment or intuition increases. Intuition and discernment is the ability to have quick perception of truth without any process of thinking. You see that?
Say that again. Wait a minute. Say that again.
It's the ability to have quick perception of truth without any process of thinking.
So that's discernment and intuition.
There you go. Intuition. Okay. Intuition is the voice of the Most High. It's the voice, and it's never wrong. If your intuition, you say your intuition is sometimes wrong, then it's not intuition. And we have to get out of this just hypothesis, scientific method, and stop the scientific method, which is limited to the physicality of things. And it doesn't add the God aspect or the divinity or the intuition or the discernment in there. That when you add that in there, you actually have the ability to know all things or to tap into anything that you need to know without showing and proving, cross-referencing, and so forth and so on. That's not how we did things, how they do it in college and high school. They beat that thing in your head. Well, you need to prove it, brother. What book you get this from? It's like one brother asked me that. I was teaching, and a brother asked me what book I got that from. You know, he said, you got to show and prove and back up, because you don't sound right. I said, I got it from a book called such and such, Words of Wisdom. I don't know which book I said, but I said, I wrote the book. So what are you going to say now? Because you already disagree with what I say, but you was waiting for me to tell you what book I got it from so that then you can validate, okay, what he's saying is legitimate. So now I said, I got it from a book that I wrote. And then he couldn't say anything. He's just mad and stormed off. He don't know what to say. And we have to start changing our lifestyles, and meditation. When what you mentioned earlier, yoga and concentration has to be in a part of our lifestyle just as much as we brush our own teeth. It has to be at that level. If we don't do that,
I made a note about politics, lessons of discernment. So I don't know how we got on lessons of discernment in politics, because right now this country is so dramatic and chaotic about politics. So here's the note I made that, you have to see through the business of fear. I'm looking at, a lot of people are in fear about the political situation in our country, and that has overrun the earth. In fact, it's all over, I think, right now. The spiritual climate, and you can comment on this, and we got a lot of people in the chatting. I'm going to bring that in. But the spiritual climate in the political arena is really, to me, about fear. I'm discerning fear, because if we can see through the business, it's a business. They're creating fear and division, and people are falling into it, and then we all divided about what's going on, and then we create our own we create all that we are encountering for a good reason. So it's like if you think about, we're creating all this mess, and then especially if you come into the fear of it, the business of it, because they propaganda and fear. That's what it's all about now. Whether it's a bird flu or something else, people are too easily falling into fear. So I want us to help people discern the fear and realize, just for instance, with Trump, I don't think people realize the game that this man is playing. He's playing a chess game, and he's using the pawns right now. He ain't even made checkmate yet. I'm like, wow, okay, that was a good move. Okay, because I played chess with my grandson the other day. He beat me so bad, I was embarrassed. But when I look at the game of chess that my grandson and I play, and I look at what the political game is, Trump is a master at this, and he's crazy. People are going crazy because they don't understand the pawns that he's working with right now. So what is your wisdom about the fear that people are giving into right now versus spending 40 days meditating? That has been, I have to say, that's been such a blessing for me, because even though I haven't been every day 3 hours meditating, when I do join up, it's like, relief, peace. The music is heavenly. The time to just be quiet and breathe. So how do people discern the fear right now and then come out of it? Let's just say that.
Well, it's different levels to that. I mean, well,
Yeah.
first of all, this society belongs to those people. They have built this well, not this country, but they built their the nature of this society, politics and penal system and so forth and so on. And they're doing everything they can to solve the issues in it. This system, like they are $32 trillion in debt, and so he's trying to save this society, and they have to change the nature of the financial system and go to a blockchain instead of the old dollar system. You see, and so that's what they're trying to do. But well, I can say this: the American dream and American spirit is dwindling. People are losing respect. At some time or some point in time, we have to be able to look at all the different spheres at the same time, not just one. People will go to church and say, yes, Jesus' name, Jesus this or whatever, or in the conscious community, come out of a meditation. And then Go onto the news and say, oh my God, they're gonna do this. And we gotta get out of accepting handouts for these people. And remember, in your meditation, you was one with God. You have to take that oneness and that power over into the politics when you're perceiving what's going on. You always have to stay centered in your divinity when you're looking at what's going on in the world with the politics. You see that? So they trying to save, America, and that's what they're supposed to do. That's what they are supposed to do. That's their nature. But it really has nothing whatsoever to do with us. And some people are getting fear. The more fear they have means the more that they plug into a system that they shouldn't be plugged into. They should be worried about their own liberation on all levels. As far as physical, because a lot of our people are sick because they had they eat too much sugar and oils in their diets. We just got done talking about that. A lot of people are not doing any meditation. They're not doing concentration. They're not doing any mental push-ups or sit-ups or nothing. And these are the type of people that what I've seen is the people that's furthest away from their inner divinity, they have the most fear. If you have fear, the way the mind works, if you look up or somebody say look up, you automatically think down because in the subconscious mind, it differentiates between up and down. So down also comes into the computer mind as well as up, you see? So when you think of fear, it actually causes you to project what you're afraid of into your life. So you're actually bringing hell into your life. You say, and you will say, well, I don't want this, but you're saying I want this in your subconsciousness. But if you surround yourself in your environment with divinity, and we talked about how to do that, that's just not just wishful thinking. That has nothing to do with just wishful thinking. That's on a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical level. You see, because you have to create heaven on all levels. That means health, healing, having a self-sustained and healthy being and temple for the spirit to dwell in comfortably. But people are they entertaining this stuff too much. You can keep one eye open, but the majority of your sight should be on your own issues and how to solve your own issues, not trying to solve this particular society. I'm the type of man that I'm not going to sit in and rely on because he took affirmative action away. Now I'm upset. He shouldn't have done that. Why am I complaining about what the slave master doing in his house? I should go leave the plantation and be on my own, my own house. I should worry about my own land. I know how to plant my own stuff. You see? And that's what I think that's what I know. And it takes people. The people are the greatest resource. The first is the mind. Second is your brother and sister. That's the greatest resource people are not utilizing. Coming together, we already together. Together don't mean shoulder to shoulder. It's people that live side by side with somebody, the next door neighbors, they don't even know them. They don't know them. It's about the frequency of the mind being on the same frequency mentally. Don't matter where you are, on the same frequency mentally. Divinity has sparked the spirit of a brother to create the foundation of computers because divinity or the gods or the ancestors, they knew after many years down the road that we would have a Facebook, we would have a Twitter, we would have even this platform, we would have that we can sit and communicate with one another as if we're sitting side by side. You see that? And so it's beautiful. And now we're able to spread these truths. And the next stage is when we utilize the things that we were taught, and we were taught so much. Dr. Amos Wilson, Francis Cress Wilson, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, etc., etc., etc. Take all of that stuff, and it's not like I'm saying this is what we need to do. I hate that. I hate that statement. This is what we need to do. Or the question, what must we do? I hate that because people are already doing it. You see, so it's the next statement or the next thing that I say is come over here and join in. That's all. Just join in. That's it. And then when we get enough people, then we're able to do incredible things. It's our time. Their time is up. It's our time. It's just natural. This is science. It's cycles of nature. It's not racism. It's none of that. It's just natural. It's just a part of the cycles of nature. So
Yeah,
we don't need.
and I think Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance was a big wake up call for a lot of people, not just Black people, but I mean all over this globe. People are singing and dancing. And Kendrick Lamar is not like us, so we're coming out of the victimhood mind, I think. And like you said, what it's not like what are we going to do? We know what we need to do. We need to come together. Like my guest Prince Israelite was on last week. He bought I think it's 100 acres of land, and they're building a community. Why can't we have that mind to come together and use that as a solution? Like you said, not worrying about affirmative action being taken away, but we are at a point of bringing the solutions, not asking what do we do. We know what we need to do, and I think that's what our goal is, as we're coming together every week, to have these conversations and educate and build. So tell everybody what we're planning next week. So no, starting Tuesday, what our plan is with the custodians of wisdom.
Well, we're going to have that's going to be a podcast where we're going to really get into the nitty gritty of things and talk about many different subject matters. And the purpose, the subject matters within the conscious community and what's going on in the world. And the purpose of that is we have so many different teachers that's out here that's talking about this, talking about that, talking about this, talking about that. But none of the things is fitting together in the puzzle. And, the pieces are not fitting together in the puzzle. And we also want to shed light on the wisest of the wise. We have to get out of being stagnant and only looking at people on our block or in our neck of the woods, but not considering, let's say, spiritual masters or elders that are of the tribes, which are together. No matter what tribe they are, the high tribes, all of them form, their dots are connected. You see that? And we really have to get out of the mindset of looking at Egypt as Egyptology and start looking at it more from through the eyes of our ancestors. Because like I said before, if you go back to Egypt and you're in Egypt, you wouldn't look at it like the Egyptologists are looking at it. There's some people with eye makeup on doing this and all that stuff, dumb stuff that they put in cartoons and stuff by
Yeah,
copying
Hollywood.
clips off. Yeah, Hollywood, looking at their Hollywood. We got to stop looking at things in a Hollywood way. And we want to also help people to consciously make God tangible, make spirituality tangible instead of so abstract, you see, and get them to lead them to have a one-on-one experience with the divine inside. You see that? Instead of just talking about things on an intellectual level, we take it from knowledge and bring it over into wisdom, because we are utilizing this stuff and then bring it on over into understanding. You see that? And then
Yeah,
that gives birth to divine reasoning. You see that?
absolutely.
So
So
that's
I want to, yeah, I want to thank all of you in the chat who are really, oh, I can just feel the energy of peace and love, because everyone is sharing or communicating peace and love. We got godly expression. She's saying Amana. And then we have Kirby Gordon, peace to room. Thank you, Kirby. And let's see. Life any Amanugu. I'm messing that up. Peace from Abdul Haq. Okay. We got that. And then Pauline, peace, everyone. Thank you, Pauline. And Tanisha is peace and love. Thank you for your greeting. And we got Selena Bostic, greetings to you too. And enlightened being, peace. A lot of shalom in here, energy. This is wonderful. And relax, let's see. Rashanoon Sabi, I'm messing that up. Forgive me, for peace and love. And living a live life. I love that. Yoga means to link back. Yeah, we all need to really we don't really we can really embrace yoga and all love energy, healing energy. When we know things like that, it means to link back to the creator, to the cosmic order. Tara Greenwood, peace. Thank you for this. Thank us. Thank us. We always say thank us on this platform because it's United Spirits. Us, US is United Spirits. David Jenkin, Dumalang and peace and love. Greetings to all. Thank you, David. And then living a live life, FEAR, focus, engrossment, and redirection. Ooh, that's putting a real positive positive spin on it. Love that. We always like to have acronyms and really break down. And then Jania Whittingham, peace and love. And then I've got my brother Eddie Harris. He's always giving me the numbers for what we're talking about. And he was texting me about the importance of the numbers tonight. And he says, fear is only, let's see, fear is only the psychological war we hear and talk about. Fear is an 8 and psychological is an 8. That's interesting. And he says, spiritual versus religion is confusion versus truth. Okay, so fear and psychological are all both 8s. So yeah, we've been dealing with too much fear, and they're starting it up again because this whole thing with the measles. I've been talking about that on my Friday show. Measles again. Here we go. Now, let's not fall into. They just renaming it. It was Corona 2, 3, 4 years ago. Now it's measles. So we are going to be sharper and wiser this time around. That's what every Friday I'm promoting to say, don't get sucked into the propaganda and the fear anymore. So we are just going to keep bringing this message to help people raise their consciousness and bring in the truth. This truth of what Yeshua, who I was having this conversation with someone who Jesus was. And we kind of wipe out the New Testament because there's a bunch of allegories, metaphors, and throughout the Bible. But the spirit, to me, the spirit of Yeshua is truth and love. So today we have a lot of people raising their consciousness, and the truth and love is in their brain, their mind. The consciousness is in the brain. What would you say your definition of consciousness is, and how does that help people come out of the religious thinking versus, the spiritual thinking, which the number 8, that's what it's all about.
Consciousness is self-awareness. That's all
self-awareness.
It's your self-awareness. And as you go through things, your knowledge is exercised. When you go through that which you know, then that self-awareness begins to expand, like wisdom expands. Knowledge, wisdom is the perfection of knowledge. You see that? Knowledge is the imperfection of wisdom. And so through self-awareness, you're able to exercise that which you know, and that causes mental expansion or the mind to expand. And that's actually the whole purpose of the God. And God has said we all God's going through a human experience. That's exactly right. And we all God's going through experience a cycle of self-forgetfulness, which we put ourselves in this state to know. To say that we are God's going through human experience is the same thing to saying that we wanted to know what it's like not to be God. And somebody that's outside of the Black Science Circle actually said the same thing. That was on a YouTube channel. I was listening to the brother, and that's what he was talking about. He was talking about that's what his elders taught him, or his spirit guide, that we actually wanted to know what self-perfection or self-unperfection was like. And that's this particular matrix that we actually created. These people really don't control none of this stuff. I mean, it only seems like it. We made ourselves susceptible to their nature so that we can go through an experience of self-forgiveness, and then working on our way back out of that, regaining our consciousness. We're already doing it. We have already, a lot of us have already separated. So a lot of us have already come together, and we're just growing and growing and growing in that togetherness, and that leads all the way to us being self-sustained in the physical location. You see that? So it always starts in the mind first, and then that grows and grows and grows, and it always ends up in the physical. You see, but a lot of people have a problem. They'll say, "Well, we got to work together. What can we do to come together?" I mean, you haven't even established a foundation yet. A foundation of what is your structure? What is your culture? You don't have a culture. You don't, or some people may say you don't have a narrative. You see, you don't have for the religious person, you don't have a belief system. If you don't have that, you don't have a goal, because now you got all these different types of minds and mentalities that's thinking this way, that way, and this person want to be this and that person want to be this. We can't think like that. I mean, what we are in this life was already decided before we came into this life. That's why they say that leaders are born, not made. But it's not just leaders. Teachers are born, not made. Kings are born, not made. Queens are born, not made. Healers are born, not made. Priests are born, not made. High priests are born. Every position of life is born, not made. You see? So we have to answer to our destiny, and we carry that destiny out so that we can reach our fate. Fate is where you're going to end up no matter what. Destiny is the route that you take to get there. See?
And we have another comment here from Janaya Whittingham. Peace and love. Thank you, Janaya. And then, of course, Kirby has defined fear, false evidence appearing real. Of course. Now, people, I think people don't even understand what fear feels like sometimes, because I realized when I had this heated discussion about yoga, that this person was telling me that someone suggested that they not be affiliated with me because I'm practicing yoga. And I said, well, what is that feeling you're having when somebody tells you that you shouldn't associate with someone who's practicing yoga because it's going to invite bad spirit? I said, what's the feeling you have around that thought that because someone is practicing a certain thing, you need to stay away from them? I said, that sounds like fear. Oh, no, I'm not in fear. That's not fear. I'm like, well, I don't know what it is, but are you afraid that the devil's going to jump out on you? Have you seen that with your family or friends where they don't even understand fear?
Most of my family are cultured. Because of them, that's actually why I am who I am.
Okay.
And stuff, but I understand what you're saying. I like what they said. Fear is of the unknown. You see, people only fear what they don't understand. So that means that truth is the answer to extinguish fear. You see, so we say knowledge of self. Once you have knowledge of self, as they used to say, know thyself, then fear begins to disappear. And so lack of knowledge causes a lot of issues. You see that? So that's the first step right there. And a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people that's fearful too. They're not really seeking anything. They just seek sensations to be sensationalized. Yeah, let me go to this party over here. Yeah, let's go out of the country. Let's go here and visit here. Yeah, let's do this. Have you ever went skydiving? They just all over the place. No structure in life, no aim, no goal, no nothing, because they don't have a structure. They don't have any culture. They don't have any knowledge of self. You see that? So it just always comes back to whether a person has truth or not. Belief can breed ignorance if you believe in something that is not sound. If you believe in yourself, that's okay. But if you believe in a fictitious God, then you're breeding ignorance. You see that? And also give birth to fear. And so ignorance is the main culprit for fear of a lack of knowledge of self. You see? So that's pretty much my synopsis of the whole thing.
Well, thank you, because we need to have more discussions about that, because when I came to this conclusion in that discussion I had, that if you believe the devil is in yoga, then it's going to affect your physical and your mental energy, a body of who you are. If you didn't believe that and you just said, doesn't matter to me. It's like today, my ex-husband was here visiting his grandchildren, and he said that he went to the eye doctor, and they examined his eyes, and he was hemorrhaging in one eye, so they had to give him a shot. And I was like in shock when he said he was hemorrhaging in one eye, and they said, "Oh, I could go blind." He didn't have any emotion about it at all. I'm like, this man has. I told his son, your dad has such good emotional intelligence, because it doesn't seem to bother him that his body is in serious stress mode. But then other people on the other end, they're like all over the place with their emotions about when something happens to them, the stress level increases. And I'm looking at all this and saying, your belief system is very powerful to bring disease on you. Because
Yeah.
if you feel like, so if you feel really strongly about a belief that I don't feel that strongly about, then it's going to affect you in your lifestyle, in your journey. If you don't want to meditate with Chief Amun's group because you feel like that'll bring in something weird or something, then who's it going to affect? It's not going to affect us. We're having a great time meditating, listening to music, but the person whose belief system is not aligned with the divinity inside of us, the master plan inside of us, then that's what we want to help people come out of, that ignorance. Like you said, the knowledge. We want to help people come into the knowledge of truth so they don't have to suffer so much.
Yeah. Well, truth helps a person to meet the truth within themselves, because we already know everything, but we just have to remember what we already know.
Yes, exactly.
So truth helps the imperfected part of a person or the soul aspect to find the true them inside of themselves. You see that? And so
Yes.
it's like you meeting you. And once that happens, it's what a lot of times they say meditation actually rids the fear of death. But that's something that's very big, because once you go into that state, that meditative state or that oneness state, and you become the room that you're in, and
Right. Right.
that you, what they call hugging God and God hugging you, and you got God right where you want, you don't fear anything else. Everything just falls in line around in your life, you see. And
Yeah.
that's what it's about. And our people you're doing too much talking, but no application whatsoever. And that's why a lot of people avoid, um, so-called teachers avoid what they call spirituality, because to them, they say, well, if I hear somebody say, well, how can meditation put food on my table? I already know that person is blinded. They blinded by the light. They can't see. They blinded by falseness. That they call themselves teachers, but they don't apply what they're talking about. They don't understand spirit. They don't understand God. They don't understand what ancestors are. It just sounds good. And some
Yeah.
people just selling words and stuff, but they don't know
Yeah.
how to reach.
Yes. I've got Brother Eddie Harris called in. In fact, I wanted to just share that we're not using the On Air Everywhere system that I used to use, because I'm not on the Female Solution platform anymore. So if you do want your voice to be heard, you can text me or just put it in the chat, "I'd like to speak," and then I'll give you my phone number. But Eddie Harris is on the phone. Eddie, go ahead. You had a comment.
Greetings. Can you hear me, Sister Viyahta?
Yes. Can you hear him, Chief?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah,
I
go
hear you.
ahead. Go ahead, Eddie.
How do you doing, family? And Chief Amun, I love you, my brother. I love you. I love you. I love you again. To see and hear a brother as yourself, younger than myself, because I'm in Sister Viyahta's baby boomers. I love it. But bringing it to the numbers it's right there on the 4. For me, being the number of God, 13 is God's number. And we're talking about that. You're talking about that when you talk about basically what conquers hate. We say love. But as you said, what conquers fear? It's truth. Truth is 31 by number. 3 plus 1 is 4. God is 13. That's 4. That's the spiritual. Spiritual is 4. What will set us free? Truth. In other words, we're saying God by the same number, but we're using the English word truth. But the truth is which we speak that will basically bring the light to all the nonsense that's being spread throughout all of our consciousness, subconsciousness, our lack of memory, because that's what it is. It's our memory banks haven't gotten back to where they should be, because it's been erased in the program of education, because it took us off of nature. But again, I'm loving this, and I just wanted to share that truth, which we're truth seekers. And that's why we seek the truth, because the truth is that shining light, that inevitable light of God that shines upon all of us, which Parliament says everybody's got a little light under the sun shining on that thought. That thought is what we're talking about, because that thought, if you're stuck in a negative thought, it's going to kill you. But that's why we want the truth to shine bright. And that's what we are. We're bringing the truth. And again, I'm not going to be long-winded. Love you, my brother. Love you, Sister Viyahta. And I'm loving this class, because that's all the show is. If you're not learning the information that's needed, it ain't no class. It's a show. So stop being led by somebody's show and come to the class so that you can get the information. Peace and love, family. I love you all.
Thank God.
Peace and love, brother. Peace and love, God.
Did you want to comment on that, brother?
Well, everything he's saying is right and exact. I like what he said, and when he said that come to the class if basically if you're not teaching nothing, it ain't nothing but a show, and I see a lot of that going on. That's what I was just talking about.
Oh my goodness.
And it kind of it used to bother me a little, not about the person that's doing the teaching, but it's like the people, the innocent people, I mean, and it's like they're just telling these people anything, people that just waking up from within, they're just waking up, and then people just giving them any kind of garbage that, it's like, and people they don't have any, they're like babies. They can't discern. They don't have any intuition to say, okay, this guy right here just said this guy said this all this stuff is supposed to come together. Truth is truth. You see, falsehood is falsehood. And so that's one thing that stood out. But I like the fact that the brother can appreciate the next generation that's coming, or that's here. So, and we ain't going nowhere. We're gonna keep going.
Well, see, you're our future. I'm turning 70 this Wednesday, and my family and I are going to do a movie on Not Like Us. So it's been hard because the grandchildren.
Don't you?
I sold the costumes. I got my granddaughter in red. She's going to be SZA. And I did all the little trinkets and things. And then my grandson, he's going to be Kendrick Lamar. He got the jeans and the hat and all that. And then I invited some close friends to come, but you got to wear red, white, and blue. So that's all. And then I'm going to have a little cake. It's just, I don't usually celebrate a lot, but 70 seems like it should be a time to celebrate. So we're going to do a movie and put it on TikTok. And I'm so excited about that because it'll be at least three generations participating in this. And that's just my heart desire, that we can be unified no matter what generation. That's why I'm excited about doing this with you every week, because we can unify the generations. We just got to be able to talk to each other, communicate, be good listeners. And then, like he said, if you're stuck in a negative thought, it's going to kill you. And we got to just bring so much positivity to what we're teaching and what we're saying, that people are just going to be so anxious to hear, and just get rid of all the negativity and really just focus on raising the consciousness, raising people's awareness of this divine love energy inside of us and all the things we can do. We don't have to be victims anymore. Let's get rid of the fact that the Department of Education is being eliminated in the government. I'm like, bring it on. Yes, yes. Let's everybody take a community and do your educating at home, because what they've been doing is garbage. And people, we're gonna lose our jobs. Blah, 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 blah. No. We can do it. We can do it. We're strong. We had amnesia for a while, but we are so powerful. That's what I love about Kendrick's message, is that he has reminded us that this culture that we are included in is so powerful, so beautiful, so creative. Look at what that brother created for 13 minutes or whatever. And the whole world is like, yeah, let's do it. So that's why it's going to be fun working with you, or being a community, working with you. Yeah, truth will set you free. Yeah, working with you to bring unity, to bring positivity, optimism, to change, to bring the change that's needed. Let's see. We had a comment here. When your heart and mind are unified, every decision you make will be a sound one. Absolutely. A lot of people are sick and tired because they're confused. They're not unified.
Unknown caller.
So somebody wanted to make a comment. Let's see. 404-983, your mic is open.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. 404. Give us
great.
your name. Give us your name. Where you calling from?
Living a live life.
Living a live life. Here he is in person. All right. Go ahead, brother.
Peace, family, and peace to you, sister, and happy early solar return to you, and
Yes.
Peace to you, brother.
Yes.
And thank you
Peace.
for sharing your wisdom and your strength. I appreciate the fact that you don't trash religion altogether, right? Because religion is basically just a regimen, right? And that's what holds you to a focus. I put the comment that focus, I gave an acronym: focus, engrossment, and redirection for fear, right? Engrossment means distraction. So it's not positive. It's what causes fear. If your focus is distracted and redirected, then you're out of tune with yourself. You're out of tune with the knowledge of self, and that's what's going to put you in fear, the unknown, right? But when you have a knowledge of self, then you're confident because you're in line with the truth, right? Religion, the problem with religion that I see is not in the beginning of the religion. It's when the enemy gets in control of the religion and then redirects it, right? Religion is just what you do every day. Some of us scroll through Facebook every day. That becomes our religion. What you do on a regular basis and you enjoy doing, right, becomes your religion, right? Some people watch football religiously. They put on the uniform, they put on the hat, they put on the jersey, they sit in front of the TV, right? And they're more upset than the people who are actually on the field when things don't go their way, right? That has become their religion. So whoever controls it, whoever plays the tune, you know what I mean, controls the people. Whoever the piper, you know what I mean, whoever calls the tune, basically, controls the people. That's what's wrong with religion, right? We all need a regimen to keep us on point, right? And this brother is teaching us that, you got to meditate, you got to clean up your diet, you got to clean that window, right? So that the light can shine through. That don't just happen happenstance because you want it to happen, right? There's activity that you got to do on a regular basis. And I appreciate the fact that our young brother is on point, putting himself out front to remind us of what we need to do. And thank you for allowing me to share. Peace to you both.
That's right.
That is so beautiful, because we should be religiously meditating. We should be religiously expressing gratitude. So
yeah,
go ahead.
If it's It's lagging. It was lagging. No, I was saying I agree with the brother. Once mom and daddy gets you strong enough, I should say the whole community gets you strong enough, then you're able to stand. Instead of a son, you become a father. You see that? You become, or what they call an adult, where you can stand on your own and you're mature enough to move through life. Likewise, in this society, people have to come out a religion and master the truth in it, and then come out, and the guidance is set. They become self-guided because they realign with the inner self. You see that? Then they become self-guided, and this is not an intellectual thing. Now, what I just said, if somebody accepted it, it would process as intellect, but you can't just say, yeah, that's true. You have to say, yeah, that's true. So how you do it? You see that? So there's exercises and practices that we follow, and how. And this is something that's practiced in all schools of thought, the Himalayan monks and various people, where you exercise listening to the first thought, that thought that told you that you should have done something and you didn't do it. You see? So when a big mistake happens, you say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done this. I knew I shouldn't have done that. What was that told you so that you would know? So when you form a relationship with that thing and go back and put the time, date, and when you set out to do something, pay attention, reflect inwardly at what is the first voice telling you to do. You write down what you need to do, and then you write down your inner self or first self, and then you write down what the first self said, and then you write down yourself and whatever action you take. After you take that action, then you go back and you write down what you did. Did you listen to your inner self, or did you do what you want to do? And it gets very tricky. It gets very tricky because sometimes it'll say do this, and you will say, I don't want to do that though. But then you go down a different path and you get knocked upside the head. Say, you see. So, but it's tricky because then you got to get used to that voice. Because sometimes it's three. It's another voice in there that's not the first self, and you have to differentiate. It's a skill set that you have to reach, and once you do that, then your life will become, like some people say, they reach a state of self-actualization, where they reach their full potential, not just in one area. Now, they're just not Michael Jordan in basketball. They Michael Jordan in their diet. They Michael Jordan in their thought process. They Michael Jordan in their finances. They Michael Jordan in their spirituality. They Michael Jordan on all levels. Then they own their way to become what you call a self-perfected human being. You see that?
Well,
and that's
and
what the initiative.
we could take Michael Jordan out and just say discipline. Because Michael Jordan, when you hear his story, he was disciplined as heck to practice shooting balls, right? I mean, he had a routine, and so all of us, like what you're saying, and discipline is life. That's the scripture that I have always held on to. Discipline is life. So when you're not disciplined, you're heading toward death. And we had a comment here. Let's see, who is it? Let me see, go back to this. He says, Chief wanted to know who said that comment. It was from the book Words of Wisdom, author Amun Rubai Ankh. Okay, yes, thank you. And then brother said, the mental separation from the toxic system really strengthens the mind. It's healing my schizophrenia rapidly. Wow, congratulations. That's a great testimony. And Godly Expression says, how do you unify the mind and heart to make sound decisions? Chief?
I just spoke on some of it. And when I spoke about Michael Jordan, the reason I use Michael Jordan, because that's what the youth are into. That's what most people consider somebody that's self-perfected in something. I could have said somebody else or this, but it's in the sense of the ideology of being self-perfected. The greatest of this, but you have to be the greatest of every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life, you have to be the greatest. And just some teachings on that. So it's a class that we did a while back that talked about that. how to reach your full potential, reaching self-actualization and things like that. And some of these classes are somewhat difficult, but they would be much easier if we had a community setting, a physical community setting, where we can practice a lot of these things. Like the Dogon have 250,000 people, if I'm not mistaken, and they have an extensive culture. And I mean, you're talking about entering a school system that takes 60 years to graduate or so. And sometimes the elders still don't graduate. They got to go on the other side and finish out. So doing meditation, concentration, positive thinking, and affirmations, which helps to rewire the mind, you have to do that. Or what some people call auto-suggestion, because there's constantly negative affirmations all around you, whether you know it or not, or what they call subliminal messages that rewire the computer mind that they call the subconscious mind. But for us, we call it the computer mind. It rewires that mind into thinking. You think against yourself. It's like lupus. It starts to attack the body, your own immune system. What you have, where your mind thinks against, and that's when fear comes about. That's when this comes about. That's when that. And you start producing all these hardships in your life, where you start running away from yourself until you self-destruct or get so depressed where you want to blow your brains out, or take pills or overdose or what have you. And we have an experience that a brother that actually he did that. He actually hung himself, and we was able to contact the brother's soul when he was on the other side, and we talked to him, and he talked to us about what happened. And he said his death was very painful. After he was hanging, he was thinking to himself he wanted anybody to come save him, but they didn't. And all of a sudden, I think he said at the moment of death, everything just went black, and then he appeared on the other side. He said he's in this, it's like a huge room, and everything, like whatever you see that room as, or in that room, it appears that way. So his brother, who communicated with him, contacted one of his ancestors, not the brother that passed, but the brother that was doing the communication, that was still alive. He contacted one of his ancestors to help his brother out. So that ancestor, that it was an ancient one too, he went and to him and taught him how to leave that room to go to other dimensions and things like that, because that is a mental construct that was created by certain deities for new souls to come in and get acclimated to the other side. So I don't know how I got off on that, but
Well, when that's we're going to talk about that on Tuesdays, that when we're together, because if that's a concern for people, especially when somebody commits suicide, takes their life, we want to help people process that. For one, it's like, I don't blame people for wanting to leave this craziness. It's like, if that's your assignment, then we should learn how to accept it and not get bent out of shape and depressed and grieving over somebody's decision to leave this circus that we're in, and this drama, whatever. So this is one of the things we want to talk about on Tuesdays, the Custodians of Wisdom, because you can bring the ancestors' perspective more than maybe I can. And then I can bring what my dad, whose picture is not here right now, but my dad, who lived 95 years, the legacy, he didn't leave me any money. He left me a lot of wisdom. And that's what I carry forth and try and giving it to my grandchildren, especially now where they're 8 and 10, and even riding our bikes for 2 hours. The wisdom that I share with him is you are creating a new legacy. You are following up. You're continuing the legacy of your great grandfather, who was an athlete in every shape and form. So these are the things we want to bring to you every Tuesday when Chief Amun and I are going to come together right here on this YouTube channel. So please don't forget to like and subscribe, and you'll get a notification. And then starting Tuesday, we're going to be streaming also to Chief Amun's platforms as well. He's got several. I won't be able to stream, but what he can do is share what we do here on Tuesdays to his other platforms. But I will be sending a stream to his Facebook and his his YouTube channel every time we go live on Tuesday. So you'll be receiving the notification from his YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, his Facebook, and my Facebook every Tuesday before we go live at, I think we said 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
5 o'clock, and we're going to hang in here for at least an hour. I don't mind going over an hour, because if people are involved and engaged, then we should talk about it if we have the time. Thank you all. We got another comment. My sister Zelda, from another mother in Chicago. She said, "Grand evening, beautiful, bountiful teachers. Enjoying the show from Chicago. Rewiring the mind. Great way to look at it. Wow, enlightening. Thank you, sister. Loving your presence here." And then Media Connection, that's Naima Latif, also from Chicago. That's a powerful story. Loved ones of those who commit suicide need to know that there is no hell or punishment for that. That's what we want to remind people of. It's going to happen. Veterans right now, I think, have the highest suicide rate. Why? Because war brings a PTSD, mental confusion, to men and women, and this is what's the result is suicide. So God knows the person was in deep pain when they committed suicide.
I want to say this. I'm
Go
sorry
ahead.
to interrupt, but I want to say this is that another thing that they can do, what he was saying, he said if somebody was thinking about him, he actually could see their face appear while he's on that side. So he also told him about a young lady that was over there. He seen her over there in that huge room. He told the brother, and the brother was like, "Wait a minute, I know that sister," and he ain't talked to her for a long time. And then as soon as the session ended, he went and looked her up and found out she had passed away.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
he said, but when you think about them, then they can see you and know that you're thinking about them. You see that? And so he also said, thanks for the offerings. I think he was giving him like tobacco and wine and stuff. And he said, it gives me energy. That's what he said. He said, thank you for it. And he said that I'm glad that you reached out to me, because I know him. I know his name was Brandon. He said, I'm glad that you reached out to me. He said, because, it just takes a lot off me. He said, I'm sorry for bringing the family pain and stuff. He wanted to just have the opportunity to say that. And so he was able to go to other dimensions and things like that. So, and we also teach that as well, how to do that, go to other dimensions and stuff. We got a lot of teachings on that. And that will be inside of a new school that will open, called the School of the Black Light. That's right. So it'll be the Universal Order of the Black Light. And inside that will be a school of spirituality, but spirituality is inclusive of physical. So we're going to talk about the human body, the functionality of the body, the nervous system, not just solid, liquid, gas, but the 7 states instead of just 3, and how to cultivate all 12 bodies and exercise these bodies, and how each one of them has a role in your physical existence. Because you have, like I said before, 7 physical bodies and 5 spiritual bodies, you see. So we're going to go on a lot of stuff and a lot of abilities that you didn't learn in school, abilities that you have that's dormant inside of you, and learning how to develop these things to work for you, you see. Because if you was in a wheelchair all your life and no one ever tried to push you to walk, a lot of people, if society was doing it, they'd just ride in a wheelchair, and a lot of people's legs would be so weak. Or if they didn't push you to read, or you was a person that was raised by wolves, So it's just a lot of stuff that wasn't pushed because of how they destroyed our culture through slavery and genocide, which is still going on today. So that's going to be a very liberating. That's going to be some very liberating information for a lot of people on a mental, spiritual, and physical level.
That is so beautiful. That's what my son does to his children. He pushes them because, riding on this bike trail today, my grandson, all of a sudden, he's like, yeah, I want to go another 2 miles. And we're like, no, we ain't going. We went 6 miles. And then he's like, yeah, let's go 2 more miles. And we're like, I don't think so. And so my son took him another mile and came back. And on the way back, all of a sudden, grandson, I don't want to ride my bike. And like, nobody's carrying you another 5 miles. We're going to have to push through. We both, nope. So our grandma said, okay, let's stop and get some ice cream. Let's hope that helps, because we ain't carrying nobody no 5 miles on their bike. So you're right. That example right there, the wheelchair, weak legs. If you don't try and get out of that wheelchair and do something more, you're not limited. We have had amnesia. This culture, our Black community, and human beings in general, we have amnesia. We are multi-dimensional beings. We can do so much more than what we're doing now. And that's what I was saying about Yeshua. When somebody said, well, Yeshua didn't do this or that. I said, no, he said we would be greater than him. We would do more than he did. So let's bring in that baby and get rid of all the dirty water. But the Messiah said we would be greater. So let's do that now. This is the time for us to be greater than Yeshua, the Messiah. We can be. We got all the tools to do it. There's no excuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
No excuse. So I'll give you the final word if we don't have any more comments. No more questions. What's your final word? We'll be back here on Tuesday. Go ahead.
Final words is what my teacher taught me. If you knew the power of your mind, you would not just think about anything. If you knew the power of your presence, you would not just go anywhere. That's one of the two that I really like. So it's your presence, and if you knew the power of your tongue, you would not just say anything. That too is very important. So I think people could literally transform themselves just by telling themselves things to say that I'm magnificent, I'm self-perfected, in every way and every day, I'm getting better and better and better. Every way and every day, I'm getting better and better and better. Just say that over and over and over, because a lot of people have twisted up the wiring of the brain just by watching TV, listening to demonic music, just bad advice. And a lot of it's on social media about a lot of things. People just scattered. They don't realize that there is a such thing as a ladder that leads to heaven. There is a ladder and a map that leads to heaven, and it's right inside. So that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. And there's the scripture again, Proverbs and Psalms. I read those a lot. The power of life and death is in your tongue.
That's right.
So take that and run with it. You said it, brother. We got to watch what comes out of our mouth, and just remember, if you knew the power of your mind, you'd be doing so much more. And that's what we're going to be reminding you every Tuesday at 5. Chief Amun and I are going to come together on YouTube and other platforms and bring these truths to you, just to remind you that we can do better. So thank you all so much for joining us. I just feel the peace, and more than anything, the peace and the love from all of you who joined us tonight. So we'll be back on Tuesday, and so don't forget, like and subscribe, and we'll see you then. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you again, Chief Amun. You have a good evening. Get some rest, and we'll see you soon.